Hello, friends. Welcome. Welcome to my channel, and I want to introduce you to me and to this new show on my YouTube channel. This new show is going to be called dun, da, 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 Liberation and Unity with Grace. Talks on consciousness and all things relevant. So, there we are. That's what we're doing. And I would invite you, please, to click the subscribe button. I would love for you to join me on the regular, know when I'm going live, see when my new videos come out. This show in particular, Liberation and Unity with Grace, is going to be released on Mondays. So just so you know, I would love it if you subscribe. It's partly because we are trying to grow this YouTube channel, but also because at this time on the planet, we are going through so much collectively and individually. And every single day that I work with and talk with my clients, I am experiencing these next level conversations. And I just know that it's time for me to start having those conversations with the world, with you, within any and all ways that I may support, guide, help, give and share what I have learned, what I have had firsthand experiences of, and also because I am a visionary of sorts. I'm the kind of visionary that sees under the surface and things hidden. Now that doesn't mean that I only see that. That doesn't mean that I proclaim to be the allness of that, but I do have a way, and we need those kinds of visionaries. I know they exist in the world, but there are the visionaries who are the kinds that see the multi-layers, and that's a part of my story, my experience. And also the things that are hidden because, it's actually just in my chart. I would have been a good detective is one of the things. But when I say that, my astrology chart, if you believe in those kinds of things. But I really have this life experience of seeing broader and wider of things to be that are happening with individuals, that are happening in the world, or the kinds of scenarios that are coming to the forefront. I wouldn't say I'm a complete prophesizer because sure don't want to claim that, but I do have a specific kind of way of seeing, and I am a clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. I'm actually all the clairs. I'm a channel. I am a channeler, second generation channeler. And so all of these things and my life experience of over 50 years now, are adding into the way that I am wired for this time, you could say, and what I'm really here for in my mission. So I am sitting down today to just get real and start this part of my journey with you, and putting out forward from here on out on Mondays until further notice that I am going to be doing this show. So what this show is going to be a lot of questions and comments and conversations that I have with people that I'm going to bring here. I'm actually potentially always also going to have people come and be in conversation with me. I'm also going to be talking to you about relevant topics and solutions and ideas of transformation, ways of consciousness that we can accelerate and grow at this hugely potent historical time on our planet. So I am beginning this show on August 9th. No, sorry. It's August 10th, 2020. 2 days ago, on August 8th, was the Lionsgate portal. It was the day that the most influx of light comes to the planet on the Lionsgate time. The timeline, now I should have written this down, but I can't quite remember. It goes through the end, I want to say the July 26th or something, through, I think it's either the 12th or the 15th. So there's a period of time that the Lionsgate energies open up, and Lionsgate connection is to Sirius, the star system Sirius. And the Egyptians were very keen on this, definitely keen, because they built the pyramids to match up entirely to the Sirius star system to receive this kind of light at this particular time. They call it the harvest of light, and it's because we are on this dimension, on this plane of existence. We are accelerating in consciousness through evolution as human beings in, I would say, segments of our history and time. Now, that is also, I would say, up for debate, and not also 100% true, because I've actually had, I'm sure many of you have had, the experience that time is not even real. So if we consider that, then the idea that we are living in a period of time as we know it to evolve our consciousness through a life embodiment. We are in this time, if you're listening to this video or if you're experiencing life at this time on the planet, no matter what age you are, you have opted for a very potent time in history. This is a massive change point, and most of you who are watching my channel, who are subscribers already, who are part of my community of light that I have been building and growing since 2009, I have never really, I've been building this community of light-minded, soul-minded people for a really long time with the work that I have done. And one of the things I often say is that, you know, a lot of people keep me in their back pocket as their secret weapon or their guidance team and system, but they don't actively promote me and things like that. So for years upon years, that didn't matter to me, and it really doesn't matter to me. What is mattering to me now is that more people are touched by the work that I have done for and with Osairah, the family of light that I have channeled since primarily since about 2009 and 10 is when I really went public. 9 and 10 is when I went public with it. And so the work that I have done with Osairah as a channeler has been so big and so huge for my own growth. And then for hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands, I've just never kept track. I have done sessions for years and with people all over the world, even before Zoom, yes, doing Skype for years and years, and holding events and all the things that I have done, which you can see on my website, all the things that I've done. So that really is not the point. The point is that it's time to connect the light on this planet in huge ways, and I've always been here for that. And so over time, you're going to hear some of my stories about what has led me to be here in my 50s and feeling like the call is being pushed onto my path in an extraordinary way. I'm going to be real and honest. That's one of the things that I actually was thinking about, whether or not the show should be just called Real, Raw, Honest with Grace. Because in time, as I get even more comfortable doing these videos and being myself on camera, I will be telling and talking and shining and sharing all the things that I have lived, done, and experienced for the living experience to be transmitted to others, so that you all can understand through, at least through my life experience and my lens, because we all have a perspective, right? And we all are coming from our own perspectives most of the time of our environments, our families, where we were raised, whether or not that was through religion or not, all the things that add into our equation, our life experiences, the things that have actively happened with us, to us, and around us. And so we're coming from a place, whether or not we've done the work to clear those programs or not, we're coming through those lens, right? So one of the things that I was actually talking to a client this morning, a client and a dear friend of mine. And because when you work with people for so long and you just hold this really, just this powerful space with people. And I have done that in my mentorship programs over the years with people for, 1 to 3 years so far. And we just become so close, and there's true alchemical love, healing, and transformation that happens in those kinds of containers. And so, as a hypnotherapist and because I am a certified hypnotherapist, having gone to school for a year for that, and I graduated in 2007. I didn't just take a weekend course, and I think that matters because when you are working with people's states of consciousness, their upbringing, their pain body, it really is important to really have a lot under your belt. It's an important piece of holding that work as sacred and valuable. So that's just one thing about my work, one other part of my work. The other thing is that when I was talking to this friend of mine and client, we were just talking about various things about how to sort of unhinge old voices in your head and in your body and in your life. We all have them. And I said something that caught my own attention. I said something that I thought, that's really good to talk about, so maybe I was going to lead off with it for today, and I guess I am. The installed programs that we have installed basically into the body-mind consciousness of the person that we are living in this world along the way, that majority of people, it takes what it takes for them to become aware of these, quote, programs. This is in a way, now that we're in 2020, this is such an easier way for us to talk about this. This actually, people have a different kind of dialogue and conversation about these things for the last 20, 30 years, 40 years. We've always been in this, as I observe it, having lived on this planet for over 50 years, like I said, being conscious of my young life, and doing the work at a very young age. I really started working on myself at 19, going to therapy, doing all kinds of healing things, all kinds of ways to deeply dive into myself, my healing, my life, who I was, why I was, why I did what I did, how I did, all these things. And just literally in the 20s, because the 20s are such a time of learning how to live life. And most of us don't have the kinds of parents and guardians and mentors and situations that support us and really tell us how to grow up anymore, especially not in Western culture. But I would have to say around the world, we need the kind of guidance in those years to help us live a life that helps us excel and grow, become more aware of ourselves, really determine who we are on the inside, why we tick the way we do, why we act out the things we do. And over time, those installed programs of our childhood and upbringing, they very often they get looked at and need to be examined for if they serve us at the highest level, if they really are helping our lives. And I don't think that there's many people who are going to be watching my show who aren't doing some of that, who aren't aware of that, or maybe who haven't spent 65 years doing that. Because I work with people of every age. I work with young people, 18, and I work I have clients that are in their 70s, and every age and every socioeconomic background, men and women. I really, just in all the ways that I have worked with people, and I will say every kind of, experience, we are unwinding programs. We are unwinding generational, ancestral lines of plugging in. And that also has to do with where you were born, what generations you were born into, what your experience was. But along the way, what ends up happening, and I say this for the youth of today, what ends up happening, and I hope sooner for most, is that we realize we have to take some personal responsibility. We have to take some responsibility, being able to respond to where we were programmed, what happened to us, what our experiences were, why we think we do the way we do, why we lack let's say the motivations we do, or we do something over and over and over again and we keep expecting a different result. All of those kinds of beginning stages, at some point you realize you have to take personal responsibility. And personal responsibility is it's a living conversation you have with yourself. You are the only one to know if you are truly in the right place with yourself. We do get guidance from other people, right? We do align with other people to help us and support us. And at the same time, when I've been, when I was in that conversation this morning with my friend, it was really clear to me that how we uninstall these things, how we uninstall this is through the commitment to ourselves. It's so simple, but it's like we take years to get to that kind of commitment to ourselves. The world teaches us to put our love and attention, our seeking outside of ourselves. And it takes sometimes, for many people, a lifetime to come back home to ourselves, to know that it's here that it begins and it ends. Here is where it really is. And so either we are projecting in our life, we are projecting our love and our focus and our energy for creation, our energy of love, our energy of self-value, our energy of self-worth, our energy of deservedness, our energy of potentialities, our energies at all of anything is very often and mostly pushed outside of ourselves on what we can do, be, get, who we can love, how it will make us look, all of the things on the outside. And we spend a lot of time doing that. There's also the people who are wired a little differently, who don't necessarily do that, who have extreme I would just have to say sort of a narcissism. And there's not a self-love there, but everything is about what that can do, in a way where it's not about that out there. It's about what it can be done, given to the one in here who's not loving itself. So all of those ways, and that's just a few, right? But the majority of people are always seeking outside of ourselves. We do that. It's kind of it's the way. And it often takes a crisis. It often takes an immense thing to bring us into taking some version of personal responsibility to ourselves, to start doing the inner work. I have been on that track my whole life. I know people who have been on that track their whole life, and I can't imagine a life without it. And yet what I do know is there are millions and millions of people who don't live that way. And I think what's happening too right now is there is such a collective wake-up call for so many huge, important things that are happening on our planet and in the collective, that it is kind of pushing people to wake up faster than maybe they wanted to, or if they ever wanted to. And so we are going through a kind of serious breakdown, on so many levels. And I know I'm speaking to you, and you, majority of you all know this. But how do we uninstall those programs? I mean, because I have been working on things within myself for years and my whole life, and I have done so much work, and I am telling you, so much work. And I have expanded, and I've had transcendent experiences, and I have been born again a number of times, literally having death experiences, and near-death experiences, and coming to life in a whole new way, and having many different kinds of experiences. And I still too catch my own personal ways of experiencing places where there's this hook, right? Of course, because I'm human and I have not ascended, and I'm living a life as a woman in the life that I have created, which comes from really harsh experiences when I was young, and, a kind of, a poverty situation. And I have pulled myself through in all kinds of different ways. And the uninstalling of programming is becoming more clear to people. It's like, well, so why do I believe what I believe? Why do you believe what you believe? Like, thinking about that is pretty potent, right? It is, where did that belief even start? Where does that come from? How do I want that? Do I want that? Tracing these things back helps us understand how to become anew. To break down very strong held beliefs does crack the foundation in our reality. It cracks the foundation of the life. And sometimes that's really vital, right? Like, sometimes you need to take a plant out of the pot that it's in, and it's just too small and it needs to grow. And you're going to disrupt that comfort zone that the plant is in so that it can grow. And you got to take it up, and you got to kind of shake out the roots, and you got to kind of break it up gently as you can, and talk to that plant and love that plant, and tell it it's going to feel better and it's going to grow bigger, and then prepare that other bigger pot for that plant, and then put it in there and lovingly put it in back together and help it grow to the next level. I really see that that's what I've been doing for years with myself. Oh my goodness, so many different planters, so many different places that I have bloomed where I was. And it's true, I did. And then I outgrew that pot. I outgrew that planter. And I had to shake up my own ground, my own soil, my own foundation, that which I was standing on. And I had to move it into the next bigger pot for myself. And I don't just mean things about the world. A lot of people would associate that to, the next nice car, the next nice job, the next nice man or woman, the next nice house, the next whatever. I do know that I have created that as well. I've also slid back down the mountain a number of times and landed up kind of worse off than I was before. So I've had to climb back up that mountain and, get back into the next pot that I could grow from. But I'm also talking about that pot is really what I'm talking about. That planter is really about consciousness. That planter, that pot of growth, and having to shake it up, pull out some of those places where it's got a little dry rot, or maybe it needs some detangling and it just needs to start again and move up. This is a little painful, I'm sure. And it has been for me for like so many times. Ugh. The stories, right? I mean, the stories I have and I will tell you and share with you over time. Things that put me through the transcendental, transformational, transmutational fires where I thought I probably wasn't going to be able to survive. And, it's such a funny thought to me now, because it's not a funny thought. It's just I just recognize that thought now, how it's just so not true. At least for me in this life, I will forever keep expanding until the last breath. It's all I can do. I am continually rising to the light. And so I'm wanting to come into these conversations and create a space where I am sharing these things with you. I am going to do all my wonderful things that I have learned along the way. I'm going to do my special things, the things I love, the things that I love and support me. I will tell you about them. I will share them with you. I will offer them as ways for your own transformational liberation so that we can come into unity consciousness, because that is my soul's thrust to the next level of conscious. That is my soul's thrust to the next level. It's a future pulling consciousness that I am. I am I'm an under the surface seer. I am and have the ability as a clairvoyant, especially the way I'm wired, to see that which is hidden and feel and know and sense that which is hidden. And it has taken me a lot to get into the spaces and places with myself to trust myself enough to believe what I see, feel, know, and sense. And that has been hard. And yet, and it has been my gauntlet. I've had to run that again and again and again and learn. But I'll tell you that my experience to be a future puller and to believe and see a greater consciousness emerging from what we are going through and what I have lived on this planet, I do believe the light is here and going to transform this world. I also believe we are going to go through some really sticky, painful time on this planet still. As I said, we're in August of 2020. So whenever we look back on this, we will potentially have the life experience to see what that means. We have a number of potentialities on the horizon, a number. And the trajectory where some of it is going is for many people going to be very, very unwelcome and scary. I say that not because I'm planting those seeds. I'm saying that so that you can consciously do the work to become greater, to become the best version of yourself and your life that you can in every way. That means a deep commitment. To me, that's what that is. With my clients all these years, that is what it is. It's a deep commitment and a deep devotion to your own, our own. And when I work with others, into that container, the deep commitment to the devotion of your own soul and your own life, knowing who and what you are, where you stand, how you can support yourself through the parts where it is so tight and uncomfortable, it is awful, and how you can come through that tight little, eye of the needle and come out bigger and brighter than you ever imagined. And yet you did imagine it somewhere inside of you. You know that this is all right. Those kinds of ways of being is my actual life, living experience on the regular basis. I take even the hardships of a daily experience where there's maybe conflict in my life with my children or any other experience where somebody maybe dings my car or things happen, and I take these things and I see them as a reflector to how and who am I? What is it that I can bring at the greatest level? What is it that I can see as a lesson? Where am I hiding shit from myself? Where am I lying to myself? Where am I, being covert? Where is there something in me that is not as pure and authentic as I really want it to be? Because at the end of the day, we go to sleep and we go and drop the body when we do. When we have the passing and when we die, it is you and you. Somewhere along the way, I really realized that. Maybe from the beginning, I always knew that. But I was so sensitive to the world. I was so empathic. I was so sensitive. I was so intuitive and psychic. I was reading everything. I literally saw light in everything. I saw the electrons, the photons, as I now know, of light in all things. So for me, I was experiencing this thing that we've talked about in the last, 15 years or 20 years, quantum physics. I was experiencing that, and I knew that was the most real thing in life. And I also was learning some really hard lessons as a growing up woman, mother, wife, all the things that I have done and been in the world. And some of those things had to do with, hold on, I just lost it. Oh well. I really wanted to say it, but that's okay. If it comes back, I'll remember, right? So I was, let me see, where was I? I was also seeing and experiencing, so the road that I have been on had brought me to the places where I was having to look at myself and my behaviors, or one of the places that I was really learning for years and years, one of the places that I was really learning about myself, painfully so, in many relationships, including my family dynamics, was through emotion, through the intensity of my emotional constitution, if you will. And my learning in that area, just sharing with you that when we learn through our emotions, we learn how and when ultimately to take responsibility for that, for those emotions. Because if you live like I have at times, you'll see the wave come in and it's so huge and you think it's the truth. It is the truth. It's this, it's big, it's huge, right? And there's that huge wave and it's so freaking real, right? It is it. And then the wave crashes and comes down and then it goes back out and the calm seas come again and you feel a little differently and you are not ruled by that high-powered, volatile, biochemical emotion. And over time, I had to learn that one and I did slowly, yeah. And what that does for us when we begin to realize that we are not our emotions and that they are not the end all be all is we begin to come to any situation with a little bit more, or just say presence. How do I really want to respond? What's the truth in this moment? What if these feelings pass? Is this worth fighting for? You know, there's so much that goes on with that. So, personal responsibility for me today was the overall piece of the conversation. How do we take personal responsibility, and pay attention to the programs that are sort of running us, running our thoughts, running our beliefs, running our reactions, running the way we respond to the world and our immediate surroundings. So I'm going to leave that with you today as this just beginning conversation, beginning opener. I really just wanted to connect today and acknowledge that I am going to be doing this show. And I'm really excited about it, and I hope you'll join me, and I hope you will click the, like button and maybe leave me a comment here, and I appreciate them. And tell me how you are, what is it, some of the topics you'd like to have conversations around or input on. I'm going to be doing some of that kind of stuff, but I've got other ideas on how this is going to become. So I just wanted to lay it out here so that if you are new to my channel, you will subscribe. I would really appreciate that. I really would like to grow this YouTube channel for all the things that I do. And let's see, what else? I guess that's it. I often pull cards. It's one of my favorites. It's not that we have to do it every time, but I think I will pull a card for right now. This is one of my favorite decks given to me by a wonderful client and friend of mine who I just appreciate so much. This is the Work Your Light Oracle deck, and I'm going to pull that one since we are going to be talking about that, kind of working with our light, working your light, working the light, working with the light. In this show. So for now, let's talk about, for right now, the conversation around what is our responsibility to ourselves and how we step up to the plate of consciousness in our everyday life, especially when everything is being triggered, especially when, everything up in the news, in the fake news, in the news, which one's real, social media, all the things in the world, the things in your local household, the economy, the state of health that we're all looking at on every level. What is your personal responsibility to the way you can live in the greatest experience at a time such as this? So I'll leave you with that question. and we'll see what card I pull. Wow, it's always astounding. The card is the Age of Light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. And didn't I talk about it at the beginning? How Sirius was recently and is still open now, because in the days after the Lion's Gate on 8/8, it's still open. We just received the most. And here is clearly Egyptian. I could say it looks like Isis to me on a certain level. Oh, it's so perfect. And the light and the pyramid, perfect. I personally went up. I drove 200 miles away from my house up into the edge of the Sequoia National Park, and 200 miles back that day to be alone and to be in some silence and to get on a mountaintop and get with the trees and get with the sun and get with the animal spirits that were all out there. It was really special. It moves me when I think about how I get very, I get very tender when I think about how much it is that our availability can be if we choose. I know that that's going to be another topic that I am going to talk about. It's a really big one in regards to choosing and choice. And so I might make a video about that really soon, if not for next Monday. But I also want to say that, the conversation is just me today, but that's just because I hope to connect with you, that you can appreciate that. What I'm really trying to do here is offer and be at a greater, wider level for so many people to hear and see, that there is hope, that there is light, that there is love, that our vibrational connections can really change and create. You can even be happy right where you are. I know that sounds kind of challenging for some people, because there's so many people in really bad situations, and I am not discounting that at all. And I myself have been through some that are extreme, and in time maybe I will share some of those to tell you that I do understand that. And I can't pretend to know why any other soul is here. I can only know and look deeply at, why am I here, and what can I contribute? What can I offer? What can I lay down on the golden track of life? What can I offer and plant seeds of golden light here while I'm here? And really, you have to climb up out of some of the pits that we have all been in. We have to get out of them. And so if you happen to be in a pit or it's hard right now, just know that there are hands reaching around, out, and to you, and that your own strength and your own convictions for the fortitude to move yourself up and out into a higher way of life and living is here for us all. And there is hope, and there is love, and there is light. And so with that, I hope you'll stay with me. I hope you'll share my videos, and I look forward to this new show on Mondays. So pay attention, look for it, because I will do some lives as well. And so if you subscribe, you'll get to see when I go live on Mondays. I'm also, like I said, going to have some people on guests, because I do really well when I'm in conversation and not just talking at a screen. I'll also do some channelings and some other special, magical, wonderful, healing and helpful tools, things I love, things that I do, things that I've always done for years and years and years that really are a positive at this time. So thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to our connections and for this show, Liberation and Unity with Grace. Until next time, so much love.